Can someone tell me why dating in your 30s is so bad? Like, it's not even normal. This is not normal. It was not like this in my early 20s.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to check out a few videos from women who seem to be having a tough time when it comes to dating. Whether it's because they don't understand what men want or how modern dating has completely changed the game, it seems like a lot of people are going to have to learn the hard way. Anyway, let's not waste any time and get into the mess.
Am I a bitch or is this normal thinking? So, had a first date and the guy was so nice. He literally did everything right. He pulled out my chair. He brought a single rose to the first date. He picked me up, had me walk on the inside of the sidewalk, took my coat, refused to even let me bring my card out to pay, asked thoughtful questions, and I cannot go on a second date with him. Why? So this is where it gets sticky. He is clearly losing his hair, and that is normal. The thing I cannot get past is he's clearly using that spray to go on his head to make it look like he has hair there when there's no hair. And it's like so obvious. Like the line isn't even like, it's not even like a straight, clean line. And it's just throughout. It's very weird. And I can't get past it. It's so weird to me. Has anyone encountered going out with guys that do this? And is this inappropriate for me to say, like, please stop using that? It's very weird. Shave your head, embrace that you're going bald and have that little hair, or just get hair plugs. Like, those are your options. That weird hairspray, brown hair where it looks like you have dirt on your scalp is freaking weird. Am I overthinking this? Am I being rude? Is this being unreasonable? People tell me. Tell me if I'm being unreasonable. Because outside of the hair thing, it's like he did everything right. And so I feel like, am I nitpicking? Let me know. Your girl needs some help.
This reminds me of the whole thing where girls on dating apps want guys to send them a super unique first message. But the truth is, it doesn't matter how good that message is. If the girl doesn't find you attractive, you'll be added to the reject pile like everyone else. As she said, this guy seemed to be the perfect gentleman, but because of the whole spray-on hair thing, she just couldn't build an attraction to him. To be fair to her though, I'm not really with the spray-on shit either. And even when I was a kid, I thought it was desperate when older guys would comb the hair from the back of their head to the front in an effort to hide their baldness. I promise you right now, the moment I start going bald, there'd be nothing for me to do but to embrace it. Anyway, back to this lady's issue. Should she give this guy another shot? To be honest, if she's going to call it quits on him anyway, and the only thing that's bothering her about him is the hair thing, she could try bringing it up at some point. But honestly, I don't know how well he'd take it since he's obviously really conscious of the fact that he's going bald. And it's not like they're in a relationship or anything. From the outside looking in, it seems like a very fixable thing if she's willing to stick it out. But we all know that when a woman starts to feel a certain way about you, it's very hard to change that. Anyway, I had to check out the comments to see what people were saying. And honestly, this first one, I couldn't agree with more.
This is how I feel about the painted eyebrows and hair extensions.
Is this the only issue? If there is chemistry, go out with him again and be honest about it. Communication is key.
I went on a second date and I couldn't stop staring. Then he said he doesn't work out, and we are the same height when I'm in heels. So then I'm thinking he probably can't pick me up and has small feet.
I'm short and haven't worked out for several years and have small feet. I bet I can still pick you up, but I get it. I don't like dating women taller than me.
Well, he said he just lost 40 pounds and is small. I don't want to feel bigger than my guy personally. He should be able to throw me around a bit.
What I found interesting about this whole thing is that it all started off about his hair, then became about his build, his height, and his feet, which makes me think she was never really into this guy to begin with.
This is something that I think about a lot. Basically, it's women's fault that hookup culture is dominating dating at the moment. Men don't act right because they don't need to. If they can go on an app and get someone to sleep with them for free, why are they going to take a woman on a date and wine and dine her and do the most to sleep with her? They can go get it from a woman that just wants to hook up. It's the same with the men on the dating apps who send like pervy messages and try and make the chat sexual immediately. If there weren't women that were entertaining it and into it, they would stop. Because if every single woman just instantly unmatched them when they say something pervy or creepy, they would have to stop it. So I do genuinely believe it is women's fault that men act like this. But, you know, we had the female sexual revolution and women now feel liberated to have casual sex with men, which is absolutely fine. You don't want a relationship and you just want to use a man for sex. Good on you. So those kind of women will always be in the dating pool, the ones that do just want sex. The dating pool is also always going to be full of women who haven't quite healed yet. And that was me at one time. I would put up with men's shitty behaviour because I didn't have enough self-respect not to. And I would engage in the odd casual thing here and there because I wanted men's validation. So basically, we're never going to be at a point where all women just stop and say act right or fuck off. But, you know, we are kind of seeing with the 4B movement and stuff now, women are just opting out altogether. Perhaps women opting out altogether will eventually mean there's way less women for men to have casual sex with, and that might start making them act a little bit better. Or men will just say fuck you and give up too, and they'll all just be shagging AI robots.
Okay, first off, the women who are opting out of sex due to the 4B movement is such a tiny amount that it's not going to make a difference. And the way some of these women have been acting on TikTok makes me think they're doing the world a favor anyway. Outside of that though, she's right, and I've seen a few articles in the past that talked about how the culture of casual sex has mostly benefited men, and in particular, highly desirable men, which is something we've been seeing on dating apps for the longest time. Anyway, down in the comments, this TikToker kinda got into it with another user.
Maybe don't blame women for the bad behavior of men. Really disappointed.
I never blamed them for men's behavior, just said we shouldn't allow it.
Your assumption is, though, that women can change men's intentions with this. They'd just fake being a gentleman to get what they want if they're just out for something casual.
Will men fake it to get what they want if women stop sleeping with them so quickly? Maybe, but they can only do this until a point. Not that this will ever happen, but if people were waiting until marriage, or at least until they were in a legit relationship before sleeping with guys, maybe the world of dating wouldn't be what it is today. But that's just a bit of Disney talk on my end because life's always been messy and people will always try to come up with new and creative ways to get what they want. And dating's no different. Anyway, I've got one more comment for you.
Women have always held the cards. Liberal women have made it easy for men to play the field. Back in my day, it was unheard of.
Yeah, I think this is the case.
Now, I don't know how far back in the day he's talking about, but I most likely wasn't around. But I will say, just because something wasn't spoken about, it doesn't mean it wasn't happening. We have a tendency to look back on times gone by as if every aspect of life was better in the past. But I bet if many of us were transported back to the 1950s, we wouldn't think it was all that great.
Men get so offended when hot and successful women also want to date hot and successful men. And obviously the term success is like very subjective, but if a woman is doing well for herself, why would she not expect that out of her life partner? Make it make sense, guys.
Guys don't get upset about this sort of thing. What some guys do get frustrated about is when women don't seem to understand that men aren't constrained to only dating women who make as much or more than they do. Of course, not all women need to date someone at their level or above, and not all men will date women who make significantly less than them. But as a general rule, we don't care that much about a woman's financial status.
Can someone tell me why dating in your 30s is so bad? Like, it's not even normal. This is not normal. It was not like this in my early 20s. What has happened to this generation of men? Tell me.
So, she didn't really talk about why in particular she found dating so hard in her 30s, so I quickly jumped into the comments to see if I could find any clues.
The good ones got snatched up while you were saying how great your 20s are.
I was married.
I'd be curious as to why she divorced, because there are a lot of people leaving their partners these days because they're bored and think there's something better waiting for them in the dating world, but it usually doesn't take them long to realize how wrong they were. We don't know why she ended up getting divorced though, so it wouldn't really be fair or make much sense to make an assumption. In any case, I think this last commenter did a pretty good job of summarizing why things are the way they are today.
Because back then, we had large social circles, which would help us to meet people. Now we're stuck with meeting complete strangers, whom we've only previously seen on our phone.
And I think there's a lot of truth to this. There's no point in getting into the depths of modern dating and all that right now, because it's all stuff you've heard a million times before.
So I see a lot of men say this on social media almost every day. And I want to know what y'all mean by that. When y'all say most women don't qualify for the types of men that they want. Let's go down the list of the things that these men are offering women. Okay? First and foremost, they're not offering loyalty. Most men cheat. So, okay, most women qualify to be cheated on, to get their asses whooped, to be humiliated, to be left single mothers, to be brought home diseases that they may or may not be able to get rid of. I think any woman can fall into that trap. That's all that y'all are offering. Most of y'all don't make over 50K, except all the guys online. All the men online magically make six figures, right?
Well, first things first, when she says most men cheat, according to the Institute of Family Studies, approximately 20% of married men and 13% of married women in the US have reported being unfaithful to their partner. Now, of course, this is a self-report, so you have to rely on people being honest, but if it was done anonymously, I don't think the results would be too far off. Anyway, if you're going to say most men or women do this, you should be willing to show some sort of data on this. The bigger issue with this video so far, though, is that she's not talking about the types of men that women want. And in fact, it's quite the opposite, so it's clear that she misunderstood what that commenter was saying.
Right, but most of y'all don't work. What are you offering a home for these women to live in? How can you do that when you have 5 roommates or you live in your mom's basement? How does that work? A lot of y'all don't even have your own cars. And if you do have a car, it's probably a hoopty. And then if it's a nice car with rims on it or whatever, that's probably the only nice possession you have because you probably still live in your mom's basement.
Again, she's still not talking about the kind of men that women want, but don't qualify for.
Or with your 5 roommates. Many of you guys are in and out of jail and or prison. Is that what you're offering? You don't think women qualify for prison inmates? I'm really trying to figure out what y'all have to offer to the point where we don't qualify. The billions of dollars that y'all are costing the government because y'all are unemployed.
Again, she's pulling stats out of nowhere. On wellkeptwallet.com, they say, women are generally more likely to use public assistance than men. In 2016, the SNAP program was used by both men and women, but 57% of the users were female and 43% male. Additionally, in 2013, women were more likely to use Medicaid than men. Women made up 58% of users, and men made up 42%. And there's even data about the government assistance women get on Wikipedia. In 2016, 14% of women and 11.3% of men were below the poverty threshold. The 2016 poverty threshold was $12,228 for single people and $24,339 for a family of 4 with 2 children. In response, the United States government provides financial assistance to those who do not earn as much money. In 2015, 23.2% of women were given financial assistance compared with 19.3% of men. More women are given financial assistance than men in all government programs: Medicaid, SNAP, housing assistance, SSI, and TANF. Women were given 86% of child support in 2013. This stuff doesn't even really matter to me. I'm just being petty, but whenever I say things like that, I do try to back it up with some sort of data.
The fact that most of y'all allegedly got replaced by food stamp cards, or I'm sorry, back in the day it was a book of food stamps. Y'all were easily thrown to the side by a couple sheets of paper. A few sheets of paper could easily replace you because you were that valuable. the whole welfare took black men out the home, right? So y'all don't even have a home to offer anybody. You don't have anything. You don't have any money. You're not offering protection. You're not protecting these women because the women end up needing protection from their so-called protectors. That's how that works. When these women are being unalived or beaten or whatever, who's doing it? I say this all the time. The man who she lays next to at night is the one doing it. So you're not offering protection. What is it that we need to be qualifying for? I really need to know.
Since she never got to it, what men are typically referring to when they say that most women don't qualify for the men they want, they're talking about women who are mostly terminally online, talking about how they want a guy who's 6'5", makes over 6 figures a year, and has a body you can grate cheese off. Funnily enough, when these discussions are had on all these podcasts, they very rarely talk about the man's morals or values, and when they do, it's often a very secondary thing. He could be the most stand-up guy since Jesus. It wouldn't matter if his bank account's not stacked. Now, the issue is, a lot of the women who are looking for a man like this don't bring anything to the table themselves, and sometimes come with the sort of baggage that guys quite often don't want to deal with. While it's not totally impossible for a man or woman to get with someone who's out of their league, I would never recommend someone put their life on hold in the hope that they'll strike gold one day. Anyway guys, that's about it for today. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to share your own thoughts, hit up the comments section.